Hi there, this is John. Today I'm going to take you through how to add expenses so that they show up in accounting. So we get asked this quite a bit, why is my expenses that I added not in my profit and loss report? And today I'm going to show you why that is. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so expenses can be added in a number of ways. So if I have a look in our expense list, we can see we've got a number of expenses, and then the last two, 350 and 100, don't have these links next to it. So if I open up this 350, what we can see is this expense has been added. It's been given a category of entertainment, meals and business as the expense category. Now, this is at this point in time, this is only an expense added into Fiskl, right? There's no other side to this. So it's an expense categorized as meals and entertainment. So this won't show up in accounting because this 350 that was recorded against this vendor, against this category, has to come from somewhere, right? So it hasn't come from somewhere yet. So if we looked in our profit and loss report and we go to detail so we can see the meals and entertainment business, if we click on this row, we will see we don't see that 350 and we don't see that other 101. And that's because that expense hasn't been given the other side of the transaction in accounting terms. So we now need to say, where did this money come from? So let's go back to those expenses. There's a number of ways to do this. So the easiest way to do this is to say that this came from I paid this expense in cash, and it came from my cash on hand account. So that means if we save this now, what would happen is we've now created a transaction in the cash on hand account that says this money, this $350 has come from the cash on hand account. So this is what this link does. This link will take us to our cash on hand account, and we will now see that this has this 350 is allocated from this account and linked using this link to the expense, right? And we can now see paid in cash. So what this means is if we go to our reports, our profit and loss report, look at detail again, we will see now that this has now gone up. The 750 has gone to 1,100, and we can now see that this expense, which is now in the meals and entertainment business, has been posted from our cash on hand, right? So this isn't always the case. In a lot of cases, if we go back to this expense, we'll look at this next one. Let's just say this expense you paid for using your bank card, your checking card, for example. So you added it in on your phone because you captured the receipt and you need that receipt, a photo of the receipt. But it hasn't been posted to accounting yet. So what would normally happen under this circumstance is, let's just say you had your bank accounts connected. You would come to the banking, or to chart of accounts, which I'll show you later, and you would look at your transactions, and we would see, oh, okay, we had $100 go out, of my account, and it was from this Lucky 13 hotel group. And so what you can do now is you can either show matches, which if we did that, we'd show the matches, or you can open this up and choose to show matches. So in this case, we've got an exact match, $100 to this expense, and we can now click on the match checkbox, and now these two are matched as soon as we press update. So what we've got now is this $100 has now been matched to our expense using this link, and this expense has been is from the entertainment and meals business account. So we can link to this expense. We can see that this is now paid from our checking account, and we can link all the way, circularly link back, and we can see that it's from our meals and entertainment and meals business. So if we went back to accounting reports, we looked at this, clicked on up, we will now see that this account has been increased with our 100, which has gone from our checking account. So this has now all been accounted for and will show up in your profit and loss reports. Now there's one other way to do this. If you went into your banking, for example, if we looked at this transaction, we can see we have another $50 payment that has gone out to the same group, but we don't have an expense. So if we show matches, we'll see that we don't have an expense for this. And maybe we don't need to create an expense for this. So what we can do is we can just allocate this from an account. So we can say that this $50 is also meals and entertainment business. And what happened now is we have now created the two sides of the transaction. So the money has come out of our checking account. It's linked with or gone into the entertainment and meals business account, and this will now show up in accounting. There won't be an expense for this because the expense hasn't been added, but you might not need that. But in accounting terms, this now is accounted for. It's has both sides of the transaction. So let's look at detail on this now. And we can now see that this is increased to 1,250, and we can see the DAG checking account now has this 50 transaction out. So one thing to note before we wrap this up is these banking accounts. So banking is a convenient way of linking your bank account and pulling your transactions from your bank account into an accounting account, which is a bank account. You don't need this. You could actually go into your chart of accounts under cash and cash equivalents, and you could create a bank account. So you could create a new bank account where you select bank account, and from that you could manually import your transactions. If I look at this bank account, we could manually import your transactions. So you don't need to link your bank account. If we looked at bank accounts in this chart of accounts, so if we looked at our bank accounts in the cash and cash equivalents, we can see that same DAG checking account. If we click on this account that we're looking at is exactly the same as if we went into the banking screen and we looked at the transactions of this account. So I hope that that helps and that clears things up. If there's any questions, post them in the comments below or contact us on support. Thanks.